Good morning, America. It is I, Jay Sims, the Lion, and we are back with another episode of the Book of Man Saturday Conversation. We're doing a little hiatus. We're just going to jump in real quick. We got some things we need to talk about. And man, but I just want to send a shout out. It's summertime. It's in full effect. It took a while to get here, but the summer is here. So if you ain't ready, you ain't got time to get ready no more. Go get your AC fixed in your ride in your house. Call the HVAC man. It's time for him to get paid. It's his season like it was your season last time, man. Get your yard ready. Get the grill going. It's summertime. 4th of July is coming up. If you're traveling, you're spending up all your money. The kids got you going broke. You out of house and home. You know what summer do. But anyway, we back. We will have some conversation. We got things to talk about. Welcome back. Welcome. What's going on, Big Doc?
Man, look, I'm hyped today. Well, I'm glad to be back and going. Y'all know we've been doing this for a long time.
That's right.
Life just got in the way, so we had to take a pause, but we had to make a special exception for this. We had to.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week, especially on this topic. I've been seeing a lot of different points of views, different ideas, different ways people feel about it. And I really want to have a conversation with you and into our Book of Man crew, because it's kind of some of the things we talk about kind of just all combined into one occasion. Like, you don't normally get a chance to see 4 or 5 different topics and ways combined in one setting. And I really want to get your opinion on it, the educated man's opinion, because I'm just a lay person. You know, I want to get an educated man's opinion on the deal, and then see what the folks got to say about it. You know, if you all know the drill, you know, like, share, comment, jump in, and we got the stream up there if you want to jump in and talk about it. Let's go, Doc. How we doing?
All right, man. Housekeeping, real quick. All right, y'all, listen. We're talking about this topic. If you got something you want to say about the topic, go in the comment section of the stream you're watching. You can type your message and we'll throw it up on the screen just like this. Shout out to Damien. Look, yo, he is here ready to go. So I throw it up throw it up there like that. We talk about it and move on. If you want to get up here and actually say some stuff, throw a comment down there. Let me up. I'll send it. I'll post the link. Come on up. You don't have to turn your camera on. You could, have just your voice or whatever, and we can go. So that's the housekeeping. All right, let's get into it. So basically, here we go. Peace and bread. I had to get the shout out. I know who said that. Paul in the house. I know ain't nobody but Brother Paul. Hey, that's a good man right there. All right, let's do it. So we all know about the video. I do have the video. We can watch it if you want to, but here's a quick rundown from the Chicago Sun-Times. Ms. Hood, 35, had been standing in line for food at Maxwell Street Express on Halsted Street on June 18th when she became involved in an argument with Brown, who was 32. Now, prosecutors said the surveillance video shows Brown punching Hood repeatedly in the head before her 14-year-old son enters the restaurant and shoots Brown. Her son continued firing as Brown ran into a parking lot while being pursued by the teen and his mother. Hood is accused of urging her son to keep shooting Brown and to kill him. She allegedly told her son to shoot Brown's girlfriend, who allegedly had been egging Brown on during the confrontation. Hood and her son left and returned home. That's the quick breakdown of what happened according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Seems pretty right by the facts to me. No opinions in there.
It is a lot of facts, but when I initially read it, I was like, something missing. It's a lot of information missing. First off, it says she's in an argument with Brown. We never find out what causes the argument with Brown. Yeah. Again, not justifying anybody's actions at all. We just don't know what happened.
Yo, shout out to Big Hurt, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yep. Yeah,
we just don't know what happened. We don't know what made this go down. I would like to know, did they have a previous history? Mm-hmm. What was said to each other in the restaurant? Mm-hmm. What's really going on with this situation? Because it just seemed odd that it just broke out like this.
Oh yeah. Well, all right. Here's the thing we have to consider. There is video footage that a patron shot.
Right.
But the camera don't come out until the action starts. So you missed the whole beginning part.
Right.
But I have my speculations based on the people's behavior. In the video, the man is saying, get your food.
Right.
He is telling her, get your food and go. Before it, oh, goodness, there we go. We talking about that link. All right. We're going to put it up there. Oh, Big Hurt is on. All right, we'll put it up there, man. There we go. All right, you should see it coming up. Actually, matter of fact, I'm gonna throw it up here. So if you want to come up, let's go. And it's in the chat. So I think this is bad decision making all the way around. Bad decision making on all parts, all parties. Bad decision making.
Well, okay. When this initially happened, I had a coworker say to me, one of the things that, depending on where you live, that you're not taking into account, that a lot of people aren't taking into account, is this is Chicago. Things are a little different in Chicago. The rules of engagement are a little different in Chicago than they may be other places throughout America. And I believe that to be true. My biggest issue in this entire thing is, what about the 14-year-old boy?
Exactly. That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Like the two grown people, okay, they got into an argument. I don't care if it was a random argument in a restaurant, whatever. The gentleman was wrong. If they were only having a discussion, the gentleman was wrong for putting his hands on the woman. Period. And that's just bottom line. If no one hit you, no one physically done anything to you, you have no right to do anything physically to anybody else. So,
well, hold on. Let's pause on that point right there. I hear a lot of people say that, but they don't apply the same logic when it comes to the man being shot.
Well, the man
Multiple
being
times.
shot was the result of his actions.
All right.
From,
But was not the lady getting hit a result of her actions? You see him telling her to
but
leave
that's
him alone.
okay. First off, the woman and the man were in a argument, meaning verbal confrontation.
Yep.
He escalated to a closed fist punch.
Yes, he did.
On the woman. Her impressionable young 14-year-old son, there's no mention of a husband anywhere.
No.
So 9 times out of 10, he was probably quote unquote the man of the house. And you punch his mother in directly in front of him. I can't say I have an issue with what he did. Because I think back in my day when I was 14, if somebody would have punched my mother in the face and I had a gun, they liable to get shot.
Hey, we got a special guest. I'm gonna throw it up. Big Hurt is here. Boy,
what's going on, brother? How you doing this morning?
Yeah. How y'all doing? What's going on with you?
We hanging in there.
Long time.
Yes, sir.
What you got?
Yeah. I think this situation crazy, man. You know, I can look at it from a legal standpoint, working in corrections for all this time and being trained with firearms for the last 30 years. You look at it both ways. You know, a guy protecting his mom is one thing. But being 14, first of all, giving a gun, why does he have a gun at 14? And why does he have it on this person at the restaurant in the door fidgeting to get the gun?
Yep.
And then why is he being, you know what I'm saying? And being told to fire, that's different. A reaction, if you're in the car, you slap my mama, bam, I reach up and bam, bam, yeah. But like, you know, at what point did he know to have this gun on him in this restaurant? That's why I think there's some more going into it. Like a previous altercation, some kind of a previous relationship. Because at what point we make him get the gun to go stay outside the restaurant to look in and watch my mama order food with this person again? You see what I'm saying?
That's a good point. But even if he was in the car and he was sitting there and his mama told him to come in there with the gun, are we mad at the 14-year-old boy at this point, or are we mad at the mother?
I think it's the mom, because she had total control. You know, but it still got to be something to make this 14-year-old able to still there, fidget, because the part of the video show him fidgeting, like digging the gun out and then fire on this guy in the restaurant. And then to walk out behind him, and fire between the cars saying, I thought he was going. So now it's like the shooting part right up front is self-defense. But after that, it's like it's premeditated by somebody.
Man,
to kill this
guy. What? Let's look at this. I was trying to avoid it, but let's look at the video because there's some details in there that everybody's skipping over. And let's watch it. But first, before we do that, you know, Brother Paul said I probably would have done the same thing, to be honest. But then he also says a lot of specific variables. Being in Chicago is a big one, which I got another piece of evidence to show y'all about that. Hey, and Freddie Brown is in the house. Peace and blessings, family.
What's going on, Big Brown? Big Freddie B.
There it is, man. We love it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing on here. Let me full screen this, and I'm gonna share it. We're gonna watch it. Warning ahead of time. There is some violent things happening here. So if you're sensitive to that, this is what it is. So I'm gonna add this to the screen. There we go.
Get your food. Who? Get the gun. Nay. Get your food. Get your food. If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my God, I'll say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
All right, and then the author censored that out. So let's talk about what we just saw.
That's at the end of a conversation. It was we missed a lot of conversation.
We did. Right. This is what I want to draw y'all attention to. She told somebody to go to the car. We don't know who she told that. We're assuming it's the son. He goes to the car. Then next thing you know, in all the videos we saw, he pop up at the door.
Right.
Now, based on the behavior, What I think happened. I'm filling in the blanks. She told him to go to the car because the man was like, the car who? That's important.
Right.
Because again, like y'all said in Chicago, what people keep in the car when they say go to the car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, like I said, it's real bad. But I'm gonna wait till we get to that part. I'm gonna show y'all the rest of it. Some other stuff.
Well, let me ask you this, fellas, and this is my first time hearing it as I've watched this video. Did he call her Nay? Like he knew her like a nickname, or he was saying nah?
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Like I said, I think the whole thing they got to be, they knew each other. Cause I don't know if you all arguing with somebody that much for about getting their food. Just get your food and go. Get your food. Daddy, get your food. Say something else. Say something else. Now, I mean, at what point? What could you be in a restaurant and all of a sudden eat fast food and went to Chinese with all the order? And what could your conversation be that much to make all of your food? I'm telling you, let's go, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a prelude to that we missing. That's the key.
There's a big part of that we missing. I believe you're 100% correct, Big Hurt. We definitely missing a lot of information.
So all right, so we got some stuff here. Now she said get in the car. Okay, that's fine. So maybe she said get in the car. He came back with it. Don't know.
Right.
He said go ahead there, Doc. So, but I'm holding off on that till we get to that part. I got some more stuff. Somebody say they didn't hear that, but what did she say after that? Sound like she was trying to talk to him about something. What? If the man telling you to get your food and leave, why are you still trying to press people? Why?
That's a first off, does he have the right to tell her to get the food and leave? Let's play devil's advocate now. He doesn't have the right to tell her to get her food and leave. That's not his restaurant. So that's the first thing I'm gonna talk about. Is I don't know if he got the right to tell her to get the food and leave. The second thing is, do you have to be aware of the situation and say, hold on, there's somebody in front of me. They're making violent actions towards me. I probably can't beat this person. Maybe I should just damn leave. Right.
I mean, so and that's true.
I think you got to play that both ways. And I hope she said go get in the car to her son. I really do. I really do hope she wasn't promoting for her son to commit a violent act.
So, but before we move on, you know, our brother, our number one contributor. Now, I can't do it like Jay Sims Alliance, so I'm just going to bring him on.
There he is.
Gus. There you go.
Okay.
You're on mute.
Oh, my bad. What you guys doing, man? Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, yes, we got you, Gus.
I wish I knew all your accolades and all your stuff, but I don't know that. So can you please tell us, you know, your stuff so everybody will know who we dealing with?
Oh, my stuff, man, I'm from Savannah, just like you guys. But the past 25 years, I've been in the military, and I mean, I think the thing I'm most proud of is the youth mentorship. So I've been coaching basketball for about the same amount of time, 25 years, which is why I'm late. One of the kids needed a ride home, so you know you got to be all in. And as far as my background, undergraduate in intelligence operations, a master's in geospatial science, and a PhD in artificial intelligence. And I'm just a guy that likes learning and applying, but I'm also hell bent on being what's called authentic activist by just letting people know how you feel about things, because a lot of people assume when you're in a uniform or when you have a title that you're down with the establishment. And I'm quick to tell somebody that I don't like something, you know, in any form, you know. That's my grandson making all that noise. I'm quick to tell somebody I don't like something, like the George Floyd incident, the Trayvon Martin incident. I will tell people I don't like something because, you know, people get to run in their mouth, you know, in between meetings and different halls. And you got to let them know that, hey, you know, I'm from that area too. And just because I'm standing here with you, don't mean that what's happening in my community don't resonate with me. But that's
right.
We know that's right, Gus. Gus, I know you probably watched the video and the things surrounding this a few times.
Yeah.
So I would first like to get from you, when you saw the video and everything, what did you see and everything? What was your breakdown of the events?
My breakdown of the events, I'll start at large. Whole thing a tragedy. You know, I think adults need to carry themselves better. Both mom and the deceased, was this Jeremy Brown, I think is his name.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that, you know, we need to carry ourselves better so that we don't put our kids in certain situations, because, you know, temperament is a thing. You know, you got to be able to step back and look at situations and try to diffuse things. But I also think that sequences of events matter. And the reason why I say that is, like I tell people, and I don't say this to brag, I've been in the military 25 years. In that time, I've been promoted 11 times. Every time we promote, we raise your right hand. This is your oath of office. I, you know, solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution. So if I'm a support and defend it, I'm gonna read it. I've read it several times. And sequence of events matter. For instance, I like to tell folks, if you don't think the sequence matters, I want you to go to the grocery store and I want you to fill up your cart. And I want you to go take it outside and put it in your trunk and drive off and come back later. And
Go back and pay.
You know, the sequence matters, right? So I think the sequence of events is the whole thing that matters here. And what I saw were a series of crimes that took place. The guy making a verbal threat. I mean, you can't threaten people, unfortunately. You know, legally that's called, you know, assault. So say another word, I'm gonna knock you out. That's a crime, literally a crime. People don't realize that stuff. You know, and when in Rome, be like the Romans. You know, you got to know the rules you're playing under. And then after that, the punch thrown, that's a crime. You know, so I think that you know, that the young man came in and saw what he saw, and he fired the shot. I listened to the video. She was yelling a bunch of stuff, and it's hard to make it out. I think one time she did say "go back out" or something like that, or "go to the car." I don't know, but it's a terrible situation. But I do see a lot of things that you know, are still a silver lining in this thing, so to speak. And the silver lining to me stems back from history, you know, true history, and in this country. At one of the good examples I like to use is Lee Daniels, the butler. There's a scene in there with the lead character when he was a child. Slave master came out and called his mom because he wanted to go and have relations with her in the shed. And he took her and they did what they did, and something happened. I guess she got beat up or hurt or injured. And he stepped out and dad said, "Hey," and then got shot in the forehead. You know, and precedent was that the black man is not allowed to protect his people. And I think a good president, seeing this young man be vindicated by protecting his mother, is we can own that role now. We haven't always been able to own that role in America, believe it or not. You know, we've been told to stand down because of you know, supremacy, you know, and them wanting to see us as something inferior to our white counterparts. So I see a good precedent and the Constitution being played out in the favor of a young black man. And I think that gives us hope for the future. And I'll pause.
So I take it like me, Gus, you don't find necessarily any heavy fault in what the young man did. You feel like that was probably the response most men, regardless of age or color, would have done to protect a woman they love.
Yeah, I do think that there's some beta guys out there. You know, they might get a phone call from their sister, their mom, or their daughter saying, "So-and-so hit me." And their first response is, "Well, what did you do?" You know, that's a beta right there, if you ask me, because there's no need for a man to put his hand on a woman.
You know what I say?
Unless she's trying to kill you.
I say this. And a lot of people said, you know, men shouldn't put their hands on women and stuff like that. I believe that people, man or women, should not put their hands on each other.
I agree.
I do 100%. Not absolve anybody.
100%.
But in this case, I know we were talking about what happened, who was right or wrong. But the thing, and like, you know, in our discussion, Gus, the boy, to me, he was the victim in all of this. I could care less about the adults. That boy. And what I know from dealing with teenage boys, you know, hundreds of them over the past almost 20 years, this stuff messes them up.
Yeah, he got a
It's
long
bad.
road. He got a long road ahead of him. You know, that's why a lot of folks, you know, who have been in the military as long as I have, you know, they always highly encourage us to see us shrink.
Yeah.
Because after you take life, no matter what the reason, even if you were trying to protect your own life, it's gonna haunt you. You know, and that's just the way that is. Because that's something you can't put back, and it's something that you know, we can't by ourselves create. And even if we create a life, we can't create the same one. You know, you can't create the one that was taken away. You can't replicate the soul, you know, not to get religious. So it's you know, life is precious, man. And that boy's got a long road ahead of him.
Yes, he
and
does.
I agree with you that you know, he's definitely the victim in all of this. He was in a bad situation, but I do commend him for taking action. You know, I commend him for taking action. And the reason why, you know, one of the things, you know, I'm a warrant officer, and one of the things we're charged with, we're the only ranks in the military that get to choose our replacements. So we're always looking for talent.
So there is
that's
so,
nerves of steel, dude. I've seen, literally, I told my wife this. I was in Iraq in 2003, and you know, we get all kind of people from the streets. And it was this one guy. He was from the north. I think it was New Jersey. Always talking about how hard he is. Well, one day we got tasked to ride down Route Clemson for a resupply, and Route Clemson is what they call IED Alley. You know, and inert explosive device. There was a lot of kills on that route, and we're getting our brief, and somebody kept saying, "Man, who keep passing gas?" And you know, this dude stood there and excuse my French, shitted in his pants. Because he was afraid to drive down that route and couldn't go. And I was scared too. Anybody in their right mind would be scared to put themselves in that situation. But that young man who saw what was happening to his mom, and he didn't hesitate, he took action. I see talent there, because you know, our nation stays safe, not because people aren't trying to make it unsafe. It's because people are protecting it. And I see a protector. I see a guy who had the instinct to do what needed to be done.
I want to show y'all something. Remember, I told y'all I had something else.
Yeah.
I want to show y'all something, and then we want to talk about what happened after the victim, you know, the guy that was shot, left the scene, stumbled out of the scene. All right, hold on. I'm gonna go ahead. Uncle Vaughn is here. Uncle Vaughn, I'm gonna add you in. What's going on, Uncle?
Hey, not a whole lot. How's everybody doing this morning?
Oh, we
doing
good.
Well.
So
nice to meet you, sir.
Well,
nice to meet you.
Go
all.
ahead and you can say your thoughts, Uncle Vaughn, and then I'm gonna show the other piece that I want y'all to think about.
Oh, well, my thoughts about it was, you know, it like a lot of people said, it was a tragedy all the way around. And one of the biggest things was, you know, once again, we got the whole thing of, we'll stand here and videotape it, but nobody's going to intervene. Because, I mean, you know, somebody could have, you know, like tried to step between that and just told dude, you know, kind of chill, you know, because he was kind of like, you know, because you're sitting there saying, what could have been going on in this little spot that got you this hot, that you threatening this woman?
When I show you the stuff, that you're going to understand more.
Yeah, because, you know, some people like, you know, hey, you know, the kid, he murdered somebody, blah, 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 this. He didn't, you know, his life wasn't in danger. And, you know, I have no problem with that kid did. You know, to me, he showed some restraint. Because, you know, if it was me, you know, as soon as you just said you're about to knock my mom out, bang.
Well, look though, is it restraint when you chase the dude and kill him in the parking lot?
Well, I have to speak to that. A lot of people know I grew up in Caton Homes, and I was the second oldest, but my older brother, Thomas Wright, went to prison for 16 years for murder. He shot a guy in the back 3 times. Right. A fight broke out at a car wash, and you know, he was tussling with the guy because the guy had stolen his car. Right. And fist got thrown, and then the guy storms off, to go jump in the car and got 3 in the back.
Right.
What was he going to get? You know, and see, that's the thing that we don't necessarily think about. You know, sometimes it's kill or be killed. You know, and you know, people are going to retaliate because you know, a shot got fired. Old boy took off. You know, was he fleeing? Was he going to get something? You don't know. You know, and I'm telling you, in my mind, the young man is vindicated because of the way he was hitting his mom. And what he said before, he wasn't trying to tickle her; he was trying to hurt that lady. And
I think,
and as a steward of my profession, I have got to cite the Constitution. Federal law says that, regardless of age, anybody can protect their loved one from grave bodily harm in themselves. You know, you have the right to use lethal force. And if we're going to be Americans as Black people, we need to know the law. We need to know the Constitution. And we need to know that we are vindicated to protect ourselves and to protect our family within the limits of the law.
And to let me piggyback off what you were saying, Gus, in a city like Chicago, where the rates and the crime are what they are, I don't blame a person for saying, whether it was this young man or another time, I have to bring this incident to its conclusion.
Right.
Because if it progresses beyond this, who knows? So
this is what I'm gonna say. There is a bigger issue at play. Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let Damien know he is here. Then I'm gonna show y'all the thing I want to show y'all. And it's our communities. Why do we even have the mentality to kill people? Why do we even have the mentality to attack people over words? Why? That's the problem. That is the problem. People are bloodthirsty and they lack everything. Like everything has changed. It's the wild, wild west everywhere. That's disturbing because somebody at 14, that is 8th grade, middle school. A middle schooler got the mind to kill somebody. Even in other stories, middle schoolers, they executed that boy on the school bus because the girl texted them, which leads me to another issue, but we're going to talk about that. Oh, Damien dropped off. I didn't get to put him on, but I'm going to show y'all this. I'm going to show y'all this. And then the pieces going to start to fit together if this is true. Okay. So we got this dude right here. Damien, hold on. I'm going to play this. Look at what he said. I work with a rapper from Chicago that had that kid in his video. He got a target on him now. Below that, it say he GD. And y'all know what GD is.
Yep.
So I don't even have to play it. That says it all right there. So early, and this is pure conjecture. This is putting pieces together. In the beginning, we said we don't know what they was arguing about.
Right.
So one of them was a gang member. One of them was. We don't know who it was. And now you got a gang member that was shot. And now that boy, if this is true, he can't be there no more. Whole life didn't change. So let's add that to what we're talking about. Damien with the Devastator. Come on in, man. What you got to say?
Oh man, I'm sitting here listening, man. I'm taking it all in. Give me just a minute, man.
Okay. So somebody say, either way you look at it, 2 lives were tragically affected. True. A life was lost and a child's future was ruined.
More than just those 2 lives, because he had 2 daughters too.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the gentleman
Yes, he
had
did.
2 daughters.
Yeah, he had 2 daughters. You know, and they were saying that his girlfriend was there with him, egging him on to hit this lady.
Yeah, that's why. That part is why.
Yes. And now it was also alleged that the mama told her son to go back and get the girlfriend too. If that is true, again, it's more to the story than we know.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know anything beyond what I saw and what I read. But I do know that I don't necessarily agree that the young man's life is ruined because that's almost like saying I got in an argument on Monday. Now my whole week gonna be bad. No, that's a moment in time. We got to get back. You know,
But
now I'm on in my coaching mode from just leaving the court. Got to get back on defense. Just because one thing went bad, but I think this young man got a bright future.
Oh,
I really
come
do.
on, man.
I think he has.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, but
with
listen,
Can I step in there?
With
Yeah, go
talent,
ahead.
I think he has a bright future.
Well, on that note, you name, well, not many black men we know that have taken another black man's life have a bright future. The things that we do in life do linger with us. I'm not saying it can't be positive later on in life, but he's not going to be forgotten what he did. Whether he's hailed as a hero by some, other people are not going to forget that.
Yeah,
And when you have marks against you as a black man, we know the ones that he didn't get in the system, but we know the ones that are in the system. And no matter what they did, it lingers with them when it comes to getting jobs, when it comes to being out in society, it lingers with them.
Well, that's why we have to change our mentality.
Mhm.
You know, on getting jobs, society. You know, there's an easy path and there's a hard path. And this guy, I'm telling you, he can create his own jobs.
Okay.
You know, the tenacity that I saw in that young man has value, and it has application in ways that we couldn't imagine.
So let me say this.
be able
Let
to
me say
say
this. From what I know, about kids, teenagers, you know, I've worked with, again, hundreds of them over the years. And what you find is that little things in their life causes major disruption in every other part. I can tell you right now, I know kids, oh man, I can't even say that. That's been through the same, if not worse, and they seem all right on the outside, but then it's the little things that they do. You see increased violence toward people from them. You see a lot of depression, a lot of confusion, and it lingers for years. I know kids right now, I've had my hands on kids for a decade.
Yeah, and the same here, just like I told you guys, I've been coaching basketball 25 years. And you know, I've seen a lot. I've seen you know how we're always in the mindset, hey everybody, how you doing at the beginning of practice? Well, sometimes some kids say it ain't going so good. You know, and you got to respond to that. That's not just a question that we blow by, but I just want to circle the whole story. Just like I told you, back in 1993, my brother shot and killed a guy, did 16 years in prison, but with support, right? Because when I left for the military, I made sure I always put money on his books in prison, so he didn't have to be in debt to nobody. I made sure I always sent him messages about what I was studying, books that I was reading. And long story short, he finished school while he was in there. He's out now. I gave him a car after he got out so he could get to and from work with support. He's making more than me now. Man's making well over $100,000 a year. And he's a longshoreman traveling the country. So you can't tell him. I know firsthand that with support and with a clear mindset, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Optimism, perpetual optimism. It can be all right for this young man.
Well, I'm not saying it's him.
Let's not forget, he did not break the law. He didn't. He's
but listen, but you're missing what I'm saying, though. You're missing it. The thing
I like where we're going.
Okay.
I like where we're going.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna steer this in a different direction real quick.
All right, go ahead.
But before you do that,
do we believe he should have been expected to do what he did? Is that an expectation that should be thrust upon a young man?
I don't think it should be thrust upon him, but yeah, you kind of expect him to defend his mother the best way he can since nobody else was.
Yeah, that's a yes or no question, and I say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we have to hold ourselves accountable as black men to protect. That's one of our roles, right? You know, I have nothing against gay people. I have nothing against transgenders, but it's so easy to stomach a black man being anything but a hero nowadays, and that's problematic to me. That's extremely problematic. He's a hero, and he's also a protector, and we need to own those roles and be that for our families.
Well, let's say this. Let's look at this. is it right that he was put in that position?
No, it's not
Is
right.
that-
He was put in
but-
that position.
But
But
let's
life
go here
ain't
too.
fair.
But let's look at this too now. He was put in that position. He did what he did. Okay, fine. And we talked about him being seen as a hero. But I still maintain that boy is a victim. And I still call him a boy because he is a boy.
Yep.
He's a
He
boy.
is a victim. And
Yeah.
are we obligated to protect people that voluntarily put themselves in dangerous situations? Do you have to do that?
Because no matter what she did, as long as she did not touch that man, he had no right to touch her.
Hey,
Are we obligated to protect people that put themselves in dangerous situations knowingly?
repeat that again, Moon. Repeat
Go
that
ahead,
last
David.
part once more.
No,
Repeat it
Back
again.
that up. I hear what you're saying with that. But
Let him say it again. Let him say it again so it'll come
Okay.
across clear. Say it again.
I know what you're saying.
Say it again.
Are we obligated to protect people that put themselves in dangerous situations? Now, hold on. I'm gonna preface this before anybody think anything. Because if I rolled up and that was happening to my mama, yeah, same thing. I would have did the same thing. I would have shot him, I'd have beat him up, did all that stuff. Now I probably wouldn't have went and executed him in the parking lot, but all other stuff would have happened. You know what? Can I show y'all one more thing?
Hey, Moon.
Yeah.
Before you switch speeds, just going back to Jay's question. Before you switch speeds, were you about to switch speeds?
No, it was aligned
No,
with
go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
It
go
was
ahead, go
aligned
ahead,
with
go
that.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I definitely want to say that the young man was truly a victim, man. And going along with what Moon said, man, she put herself in harm's way. He had no right to touch her. He had no right to threaten her. But at the same time, us as men, we understand the fact when two men come together and the argument is, comes about, we're like, is this worth it? You know what I'm saying? We understand the fact that, hey, look, man, it could come to blows or worse. One of us could lose our lives. So, you know what I'm saying? As far as her putting herself in harm's way, that's just like if you were with your wife and she was mouthing off to somebody and being the problem. She putting herself in harm's way.
Yeah, but you as being the man, you can actually step in and intervene and diffuse that situation.
All right, good. I'm glad you said that because that's what I got to show y'all next. Before I show you this, I'm gonna tell you this thing real quick. One day I was out, right? Me and the wife was out. These two people was arguing. A boyfriend and girlfriend was arguing. I know both of them. And she said, "You gonna go over there and stop them from arguing?" I said, "No, I'm not. Because I know the people and I know what they do. Because it's my job to make sure the people under my covering is safe."
Amen.
Not when you go over there and both of them turn on you. And I wish I'd have pulled it, but it's a story. Remember the man in New York who went and tried to save that lady and got shot in the head?
Yeah.
I mean, them people, what good am I to my family when I'm going out saving everybody else who
Amen.
don't have a covering? You know what I mean? So I think it's not right. I think our focus is wrong. It's not right to, I don't want mandate is a strong language. To encourage protection of all these people when I think it's a better course of action to encourage people to protect themselves by avoiding conflict.
Amen.
When it can be avoided.
Amen. When it can be avoided. When it can be.
Sometimes you can.
I agree with that. You should definitely avoid being conflict, escalating things. But I think the deceased guy, Jeremy, he's the one who escalated this from the footage I saw.
No, I agree.
He took it to the next level.
Yeah,
and the lady arguing with him, you guys have heard the saying, never argue with a fool. From a distance, you can't tell who is who. And it's a good thing that being stupid ain't against the law. Because I think mom was stupid. She was stupid, but she ain't break no laws. Being stupid is not against the law. She did not have the same level of critical thinking that you gentlemen have to recognize, when to step down, but she broke no laws. And, it would I'm hopeful and thinking that we live in a civilization, you know, where people are expected to be civilized, where if we get into disagreement, that it's not gonna go to the level of you putting hands on me. And maybe she thought the same thing. You know, we're in an establishment, we having a disagreement, and we're just gonna go back and forth. Maybe she didn't think it would go there. Maybe she's not smart as you guys to know that it wasn't going to go there. But in my opinion, she broke no laws. The deceased escalated things, and he issued the first threat and threw the first punch, and the rest is history.
So let's
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nah. Gusto, you know we family, right? So we family.
Oh, for sure, brother.
Yeah, we nah. No, literally, we family. We family.
Boy.
We got a niece together. Yeah. So check this out, Cap. When we say that the young man was, I call the young man the victim. I heard you say at one point that he was a hero or held the hero in this situation. You said that you saw something in him because of what he did in this situation. That I can't say that something was in him because he sprung into action and he saved his mama. I can't say that. The reason I say that is because day by day, black men shoot other black men.
Right.
And so are they showing that same potential by springing into action? No. And then on top of that, it's just the fact of another black man losing his life. And me and you talked the other day, and I said to you, I felt as if it seems that there is no value sometimes in the life of a black man. Hold up. We have a whole organization built off the backs of black men being killed in America, BLM. How much justice was being served throughout the years? So that's where I was coming from with that when I said the low value that is put on a black man's life. And it just seemed like it's something reoccurring, and it don't just come from other races. We got it internally now. And people are saying, hey, he was the hero. She was the hero. You know what I'm saying? She was the victim. Like Simone said, man, the kid was the victim. He was wrong for putting his hands on her, but the kid was the victim in this situation, man. He was called into action. That's the way it sounded. The way it sounded from what I heard was it was premeditated, and little buddy got turned into an assassin.
Look, it's called proxy violence. That's the name of it. But so any responses to that before I show y'all this next thing?
Yeah.
Go ahead and show the video, Doc, because I think it's a couple of places we can go from what Gus and Damien just said that I really want to address.
Okay. So what this video is this woman in the front, that's her husband driving beside her. And he having a conversation with his son. He's having a conversation. So listen to what he said.
At the end of the day, as a black man, your main job is to try to get back home to your family. Don't try to be hard. Don't try to be bad. If something going down, it's okay to leave. You ain't got to stand up and fight for nobody else. None of that. If anybody say anything, oh, you weak, you should have did this, you should have did that. You look out for you and whenever you get a family. Because at the end of the day, everybody that say you shoulda, woulda, coulda, I guarantee you they wouldn't either. Okay? Just that I know a lot of this probably ain't making sense to you right now. But we're gonna keep having the conversation and it's gonna make sense later on in life.
Thoughts?
He is right to a certain extent. You absolutely have to prioritize what is your responsibility and what you are responsible to cover. And as an individual man, you do not have an obligation to defend anyone else other than like you said, the people that's under your cover.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do believe as a community and as Black men, we have to accept a slightly larger burden than that. Because of the numbers, because of the way this society the position society has put us in, we do have a larger burden of performance to possibly reach outside of ourselves and that first circle that you draw around yourself and your wife and your children. We kind of have to draw a slightly larger circle around ourselves than other individuals may have to.
Yeah, you know, self-preservation is the first rule in nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't do anything for anybody if you're not protecting yourself. And sometimes protecting yourself means not intervening, you know, in certain situations.
Or calling the authorities.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, protecting your family, I do think is something that a man, not just a Black man, is charged to do by God, you know, by the, you know, the nature of who we are, how we're built, how we're designed. You know, even if our wives become impregnated, there's a certain period of time where, you know, in that course of 9 months, she's not going to be able to do everything. You're going to have to protect. You're going to have to cover down. You're going to have to carry more load that she would not normally be able to carry when she's not with child. So I feel like we do have a role as a protector in our family. But I do think it's kind of disingenuous to make a comparison between a self-defense, clear, open and shut case caught on video, and the senseless crime that happens in our community. But I agree, you know, it's too easy for people nowadays to point a weapon and squeeze the trigger when looking at a Black person. And that's a lot of work to be done with that. I think you spoke to it in one of your comments, Dr. Hicks, that you know, a Black man's not valued unless he's providing something. And I think that's 100% true. But at the same time, I also feel like in life, we should all seek to find our purpose. And your purpose in life is going to give you something to provide, whether you know it or not. And that's going to increase the value, you know, that this sick and twisted society sees in us, you know, because people think twice about, you know, squeezing the trigger when it comes to certain people. And they don't think at all when it comes to others. That's the nature of the society that we're living in. You know, none of the guys on this call created it, you know, but that's what we're living in. And I think we're working to improve that by having this dialogue. But the kid, I do agree that he's a victim, right? But I also think that I was once a victim of poverty. And my question to you guys is, how long should he be a victim? You know, how long should he be a victim? Should he manifest that into his entire life? Because the Bible offers 10, which is about 75 years. How long are we going to ask this 14-year-old kid to be a victim? And at what point are we going to, you know, suggest that he seeks counseling, put it behind him, move forward, and walk into the greatness that's out there for him to create for himself?
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Jay, because you were about to say something. I seen you. You were licking your lips, ready to go.
Well, I was just saying that I do agree that the young man is the biggest victim in all this. And I don't really have a lot of sympathy for the quote unquote victim or the deceased. I don't have a lot of sympathy for him. What all I saw was two people having an argument or a disagreement, and he chose to escalate, like Gus said, he chose to escalate the violence. And when you choose to escalate the violence, does not mean your level of violence will not be exceeded. So that was his choice. Right. So that was his choice, and that's what happens when you make that decision. I do hope that whatever counseling or help this young man may need, because that, even though I think he did what I think was the right thing, or at least what I would have done, he may end up having some mental baggage to carry with this, regardless of whether you know the guy want to put up and say the young boy is a gangster disciple or whatever. Which another thing, he's 14. Somebody coaxed him into that. He didn't just wake up one morning and say he wanted to be that. You know, like all of us, he was probably playing with trucks and running around with Spider-Man drawers on at some point. People don't just fall into this stuff. Somebody
do
walked them down that road at some point. Somebody, when he was a 10 or 11 or 12 years old, came to him and said, you need to go this way. So we've all been, all 5 of us here have been 10, 11, 12-year-old boys before, and violence wasn't on our horizon until somebody put it on.
They emulate.
I don't think he was stopping it. I don't think they were saying that the young boy was a gangster disciple. I think they're saying the dude that got shot was, because that's why he was saying there's a target on him now.
Yeah,
Oh,
the dude that got, and they said that he was in the music video with some people that was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I read that wrong. My apologies.
Yeah,
But,
so you know,
I do want the best for the young man. I don't think it should be any retaliation against the young man, because even all those guys that was in the GD, if you ask them about their mother, they'll do the same thing that young man did. So I support him wholeheartedly. My question that this brings up on a larger scale, and Gus kind of touched on it, is what exactly is our responsibility in our community as far as protecting the ones we love, and outside of that, protecting our women? And what responsibility? Yes, we have the responsibility of protecting them, but what is their responsibility in that equation?
So
do they not have the responsibility to fall under our authority if we're going to be responsible for their protection? They have to be responsible. They have to also take the part of then you must fall under our authority. No different than we expect the police. You know, if I roll up to a location and the police tell me to go left and I go right and my car fall into the ditch, that's not the police fault. That's my fault for not following instruction. He did his job and gave me the proper instruction of which way to go. So I had to submit to his authority to get his protection.
So before we go on, Uncle Vaughn was going to say something about the last point.
Yeah, that he really does need to get out of that environment, because, you know, even though you can go and talk to any gang member and say, yo, if somebody was doing that to your mom, what would you do? They would agree, but, you know, he did just possibly kill one of their members. So, you know that
we all know in certain situations you gotta throw common sense out the window.
Yeah. And
a lot of it go out the window.
And another thing I was looking at from watching that video was, this man has hit women before.
Okay.
You know,
he was very comfortable.
Yeah, there was no
comfortable.
There was no hesitation in him about hitting that woman like she was a grown man. And it wasn't just one shot. You know, he came back to hit her again a few more times.
Yeah, that's why
How do we feel about at least the speculation that the girlfriend was there egging it on? How do we feel about that?
That's sick and it's sad. You know,
he probably beat her too.
Yeah, she's just as at fault as he is for his own demise. You know, but I do like the precedent that, you know, that's not going to be tolerated. And you know, I like what you're saying there about, you know, people have to submit to our authority in order to get our protection. And I think that lends itself to some root cause analysis. I think our community is in peril because we don't exercise as a village. You know, people are of the mindset, don't say nothing to my child. Well, if I see your child acting up, if I see your child running with the wrong crowd, I need to be able to step in and say, hey, I know your mom or your dad don't allow you to be doing this. Sit your behind down. Or
let me tell you how it really is. They don't say nothing to my child. They don't say that no more. They tell the children what to do. They will tell them to do it. They give orders. I see it every single day. They jump on that phone and text. Oh, my mama said, matter of fact, I dealt with a situation like that Wednesday. Had a kid do some heinous stuff because the mama told him to do it. That happens.
Yeah, we lack leadership in our community, and furthermore, we lack fellowship. You know, nobody wants to follow people who got sense.
I agree.
I'll tell you right now that I know how to coach kids, I know how to raise kids, but how many people are going to listen and do what it takes, you know, and actually follow the directions that are being given. I ain't saying I got the answers to it all. I'm not saying that at all. And I guarantee you you fine gentlemen can do the same thing. But how many people are going to actually follow and take the advice? It's not going to be easy advice. We're not going to placate people. You know, I'm going to tell you to study every night, tell you to read every day, tell you to work out, stay out of trouble. You can't hang with certain kind of people. But how many people have that kind of discipline? And I think that's what's wrong. And that's why the environment is the way it is, where it's almost like the Wild West, where you can't be safe. People are shooting and killing each other, and it becomes so normal that you become numb to it. And a change needs to happen. And that change is not going to happen until we exercise true accountability. And accountability is not just one piece. It's not just holding one person accountable. It's holding ourselves accountable, holding the community accountable, holding our brother accountable, and holding the law accountable for treating us with equity and equality.
So aside from what happened, and we had this conversation before, Jay, about what protection looks like. And there are people that believe the only way you can protect somebody is by being physical. Sometimes protection, the best way to win a fight is what?
Not have a fight.
Sometimes to walk away. Walk away.
Walk away, not fight.
Hey,
because I just want to interject that, like you said, protection doesn't always have to be physical. I mean, the girlfriend could have protected him by just saying, like, come over here, stop, be quiet, let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that could have been settled, calmed down through just some, minor intervention. Instead of having the camera up, you could have just said, hey, y'all need to, chill this out to say, is this really even necessary?
Well, but we don't know if anybody said that before the camera came on.
We don't.
And once it escalated to the point where we about to throw down, because as soon as that punch was thrown, people cleared. Matter of fact, no, when you look at the video in the lobby, nobody was in there. The video was taken from the door.
Yeah, and you see them leave to go out once, it go down, but we don't know if somebody said anything like that before the camera came on, but we know nobody said nothing like that while the camera was on.
Well, that video was cut. It's cut and spliced, so we don't know.
Right.
Video editing can do a whole lot of stuff.
There's a whole lot up in the air in this situation. To me, the hard facts of this is the young boy was put in a bad spot. He reacted as I think most young men would, especially a young man who comes from a single parent household. And let's address that. Let's talk about that. Why are we in our community in a situation where so many sons are in the protection role for their wives when it should be their fathers or their husbands?
Husbands.
That's a bigger issue.
The son husband.
Realistically, my wife and my son wouldn't have been out that late in the evening going to get no food if they were in the house with me. That'd have been me. I'd have been going to get that food that late in the evening, especially in that community.
You're right. You're right.
So
I mean, to
me, that's a bigger problem.
And
over
70%. That's protection of all, not putting them out there like that.
Right.
Our over 70% of our children are from single parent homes. And I would say this, that it's not good, because you need influence from both sides. Now, not to say that people that are single parents, because there's single parent men and the single parent women, that okay, you can do it. But they missing something. And you know how I know? I see it daily. These boys missing so much, which I'm gonna go to this part here where he talked about the lives of Black men and boys not having value. I'm gonna show you something. Our boys can't read. Most of them read on a 4th grade level. Our boys commit suicide at the highest rate of all. Our boys not getting education. They're not working. They're doing nothing. But every single thing you hear is about who? And y'all know it. Y'all know it. They expect our boys, you just got to get it. Why are these boys not getting help? Why are they thrust in these positions where they got to kill people? Why can't they read? They can't do anything. And it's a shame.
Yeah, it's because bigger systemic issues that we don't address enough in this country. Because I always, before I expect anything out of anybody, I think we said this in another talk that we had done. I look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have to take that into account. You can't expect them to read if they're not in a safe environment, if they're not physiologically taken care of, because those things from the bottom on up is how a child reaches self-actualization.
Well,
And
but look at this, Gus. But look at this, though. Here's the thing I want to point out. And you are right, 100% right. But all the programs, all the money, all the effort go toward black girls. And guess what? Guess who's the one that's giving it and doing all the stuff? It's us. So that's not we doing that. So these boys don't have value to people because it's all about what they can do. And that's the sad part.
Well, you're correct. But I think a lot of the reason why you see so much energy and effort going towards black girls is because black girls are a bigger voting bloc. Black women are the head of the majority of the household. So if you want to appease the head of the households in the black community, you appease them by making sure the ones that look like them get taken care of. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. However, we all know that.
My bad, man. I put that up in the middle.
No. We all know that in every society, in every community, building and strengthening the men of that community strengthens that community. Our community is the only community that works against that. But we for whatever reason, we've decided that making the women stronger is going to build the community, and it's not working.
Yeah, I think that we got to make both stronger. Because I'll be the first to tell folks that my secret ingredient is I got a good wife. I'm not stressed out. I can go to work and focus. I ain't got to worry about her doing nothing crazy.
Yes.
I can study. I can stay up. I can read. I can go to college, and she ain't in the streets. And I think
supporting you.
Yeah, when you got a good woman, you can be a good man. So I think one hand washes the other.
Amen.
And I really think that I've been doing a lot of listening to Minister Farrakhan over the past couple of months, and I really think that you guys have identified a need, and we should do something about it. Because our times will never get better unless we make them better. And if we see a need for a focused program for our black boys, let's do it.
You know what happens? And I agree with you. I'm in the trenches every day with this thing. But what happens is the same thing that happened to Obama's program, My Brother's Keeper. What happened to that program is it was created to help these boys. It was created to get them going and to help them read and get jobs and all of this stuff. It didn't last that long. They shut it down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to own our ideas. Well, it was eye-opening for me. I did a year in Silicon Valley back in 2016, and these were some of the best schools I had ever had my kids go to. And then my daughter was learning Python and C++ and computer science. It set her up for college, and this was in the 9th grade. And I went and started talking to some of the parents at the basketball game, like, how do you get this kind of funding in your school? And they're like, well, we volunteer. We go teach the courses. We don't have the funding.
Right.
And that's what a lot of us misconstrue as some group getting more than the other. But it's really the people seeing a need and doing something about it, And I think if we own the idea and if we don't let it die, it won't die. And if we use our collective talents and make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's with any legal paperwork that needs to be done, then nobody can stop us, because there's enough brain power in this group to get something like that done.
Okay, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So I know we're getting on an hour. I just want to throw this comment up here from Cousin Tiffany. People don't know how to have a discussion, argument, or heated debate without it going to the extreme to win or be right instead of agreeing to disagree or walk away.
Oh,
100%.
absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely have and specifically in our community, we definitely have I don't know if it's conflict resolution or just communication as a whole. We do not have those skills at all, at least not at a level that would allow us to be effective. We have an issue there. It's no different, just like our interaction with the police. It always has to escalate beyond what's necessary to, effectively resolve the situation. We definitely have to work on that, and it starts again in the homes. And our homes, unfortunately, are too emotional based instead of based, in logic and in reason. And when everybody in the conversation is emotionally based person, you're gonna keep running into the same problems.
Yeah, I agree with that statement as well. And the conflict resolution is a huge problem. And I think one underlying cause is the golden rule. Doing to others as you would have them doing to you. People nowadays, for some reason, lack respect. But they want respect. And it's a sickness. And I mean, I don't walk around telling people, what I've accomplished. But the unfortunate thing is when you don't, you're just another black dude walking in the grocery store, sweaty with sweats on. I just came from practice, but am I going to steal something? I'll probably make more money than everybody in the store. But people don't know how to respect you on the human level until they figure out who you are. And that's a problem. That's a problem that I think across the board needs to be addressed.
I agree there. We definitely have an issue with respect in society in general, even more so severely in our own community, and that's probably one of the first places you have to start to address any of these issues. Is addressing the bottom baseline issue of respect for each other as men, respect from man to woman and from woman to man, and then respect going up from children to adults. All of them are lacking in several ways. And to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure how to reestablish that other than reestablishing the family dynamic.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. It's going to take some time, and a lot of effort. And unfortunately, the turning over of the generations, the people that are now with that attitude, they just got to die out. And unfortunately, they're teaching their children these things. I see it all the time. And that's what concerned me about this whole situation. Not that the fact that, okay, the lady got hit, the son shot him, but how people they seem to be bloodthirsty to me. Very bloodthirsty. And that was a thing. It hurt my heart so bad. And I started to understand a lot of the things, that the Bible talks about, when Sodom and Gomorrah, that's the people were like that. That was ingrained in them. They were that thing. And that's what you see. That is what you see. Many of the people that we know right now, the things that they said, and of course I know social media is what it is, and you write it and all of that. Now there's a difference between the people saying, you know what, that young man was justified. Like my brother Gus right there. He said, justified. That's one thing. But when you take it to the whole other side, where you glorifying the violence, because see, one thing, Gus, you never glorified the violence ever. You didn't do that. You talked about the situation, what was constitutionally right, lawful, all of that. I'm with that. But the bloodthirstiness, and it's leaking to our children. I'm telling you.
That's wrong. The blood, I don't ever want to see anybody hurt. I feel for that guy and his family, especially an untimely, unnatural death like that. It's a tragedy. And then on top of that, the mother being hit upside the head. Look, when I talk about respect a few minutes ago, respect the fact that we don't know what's going on in people's lives, right?
We do not.
My daughter played 3 years of college basketball. The 4th year, she started complaining about her feet hurting, and she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, like lesions on the brain.
Right.
And I'd be damned if somebody who have no idea what her medical background is swings on her like that. You know, you don't know what medication this woman is on, and respect for the unknown. You don't know what this person got going on in their life, what medication they're taking, what their health status is. And it's just, it's just a lack of respect for other people that led to all of this.
No, it's a C word, compassion.
Yeah, compassion.
Compassion, grace, and mercy. We all want it, but never want to give it. And that's the root problem, man. But again, man, I'll say it's just, I think it's bad all the way around. I think it is. And everybody, we're going to hear all these opinions about it and everything. And you know what? This is what I say. Where does change start? In your house first.
Absolutely.
If I teach my kids and lead my family in a direction, then when they go out, they influence other people. And then those people influence other people. It's exponential. Yep. I think that's the only way we can do it. Just to stop all this. Yeah, that dude, you know, he should never be. It ain't nothing that bad to be arguing with somebody like that. It ain't. You can just, like the dude said in the video, you can just walk away. You know what? Somebody said, I'll walk away. I'll come back later and get my food after you left. Because I want peace in my life. But unfortunately, a lot of our people and people in general love chaos. And they love chaos so much till when it doesn't exist, they create it. They make chaos because that's their natural state of being.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable to be peaceful. And that's bad.
I agree. And I think I just want to kind of, in closing, say this. I hope that young man get whatever support he needs. I think I would hope some other men in his area, his vicinity, would reach out to him and give him some place to go to maybe help him get through this situation, because it's not going to be easy. Just like Gus said, trained soldiers have issues when they take a life. So this young man at 14, who knows? Like Gus said, he couldn't be capable of anything, but if this kid could be the exact opposite and have him become something that he never should have become.
Exactly.
And I hope we get that squared away. I am a proponent of what we do here at Book of Man is all about making men be the best version of themselves so they can be the best kind of man for their families. I just want to see that continue to progress. I have seen a lot of good things in the past 6 months to a year about folks trying to keep their families together and make their families strong and men being men. And I'm glad to see that. It could just be as simple as I chose different things to look up in my algorithm on TikTok, and YouTube, and Facebook, but it makes me feel better. Either way,
we need to look at more of that stuff.
So I hope to continue to see that go that way. I got my own personal things going on. We're gonna get back on track so we can continue to do this, because this is like my therapy session for me.
You love it.
So I definitely need to continue to do that. It helps my life, man. And I appreciate you guys joining it. I appreciate you joining us, Doc, and everybody else, Damien, LeVon, Big Hurt, that came and jumped on. We appreciate you guys jumping in, man. And, it's good to be back. And as we continue to get back on track, I'll be glad to see y'all get involved.
Right. Well, Gus, I'm gonna throw it to you because it was because of you all of this happened. You started with the post, and me and you went back and forth for a while. I loved it, man. I loved it. And now we're here. So thank you for that. And that's the reason why we made the whole platform. So anytime you want to discuss something, just like you did, hey, let's do a live about it. We there. We got it. But before you say your last words, Gus, I didn't do this earlier, but I gotta pay the respect since we was talking about it.
Now give me my theme music.
That's for OG. He been here the whole time.
I mean,
So Gus, I'm gonna throw it to you, brother.
No, man, I appreciate you guys, and you know, that situation was a perfect storm, even though it's tragic, because it showed both extremes. You know, it showed you know, a black man unfortunately lose his life, but on the other spectrum, I think it showed a precedent, which is rare. And if you look at our whole history of a black man being able to actually stand up and be protected under the Constitution, which was not written for us.
Absolutely.
You know? So I will definitely you know, do everything that I can to help with some of the things that came of this dialogue, seeing a need for more programs and funding for Black boys, and the idea, we got to own it. If we need to do fundraisers, if we need to sell T-shirts, popcorn, it's a lot of things that we can do, you know, to actually get some things done. And we don't have to aim for the sky. You know, if you can't do it all in one day, do a little bit, and each one teach one. You know, as I think the you know, the best way to approach it, and it's been working for years and years. But I appreciate you guys, you know, setting up this forum and taking the time to dialogue and share your perspectives, because you know, I'm of the mindset that we're only given two ears, two eyes by God. So you have to rely on your brother to keep you honest, because you see what you see, but when you put it all together, you get the whole picture. You
Just
know,
like the book study.
I really had fun with the dialogue also, Doc, and you know, I look forward to lighter discussions in the future, because I don't want nobody else to lose their life, but I think a lot of good is going to come from this. Right.
And the one thing I'm gonna say, that what we have to do is, even though people may disagree, you got to remember it's just a discussion.
That's it.
Don't hate people because they see the world different than you.
Yeah, that's it.
Because regardless, like I say, you and I, we disagreed on some of the stuff, but I still love you. Still
no,
love
for
you
sure,
like
man.
my
It's
brother.
always
So
love.
it's no thing. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's always love, and you know, nobody sees the whole elephant, man. It's too big. You gotta encircle it.
If y'all want to talk about a lighter discussion, we can talk about a heavier person in your boy Zion, which I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, save that for the next time.
Yeah. So Jay, man, go ahead and take us to the house, man.
Hey, man, I want to thank everybody for joining us, man. It's been wonderful to be back. Enjoy your weekends, fellas. We got a whole lot of going on everywhere. We got all kind of festivals and events. It's summertime. It's 4th of July. Find your fireworks show or something. Thank you for joining us. We love you. We out.
Peace.